Okay, thanks for joining us. This is Dean Carnell with Worldwide Trekking, and we are hosting our destination series. These are live events on um, Zoom, and what we're going to do here is go over all of our destinations. Basically, each week we send out a newsletter, and when we send out the newsletter, it usually focuses on a different trip and a different area that we're going. So our destination series is going to be live every Saturday. And why we want to do it on Zoom live is because it gives people the opportunity to ask questions right then regarding the trip that we're talking about. So what I want to do to start out our series is go over the trip calendar for 2021. We're looking to get back to travel in 2021, and I'll go over the calendar right now and more or less the best time of year to travel to the different destinations that we visit. A lot of times, a destination has a high season, a popular season. A lot of it has to do with weather, but we are also really selective about days. Certain trips scheduled around the full moon, others scheduled around the season and avoiding the highest part of the season where it might be crowded, hitting a little bit of the shoulder season. And from our experience, using the best opportunities to give our guests the best experience. So I'm going to share my screen now, and then we'll just get going. Okay, it looks like I'm sharing my screen now. So basically, we're Worldwide Trekking, and we're an adventure travel company based in Salt Lake City, Utah. I know that this past year in 2020, we've all gone through the coronavirus, and this summer were able to run some small group private family adventures in southern Utah, and we're looking forward to 2021 with the vaccine coming out, and people being able to hopefully put some of this behind us and start to venture into the international adventure travel that we typically do. So with that, our typical group is a group of people from all over the country and many places around the world. And we focus on adventures and trekking and different types of activities outdoors, but they also always combine culture and cuisine and other components that help us really fulfill a group's desire. So you can see in this photo a group of people that are on their trek to Machu Picchu, and it gives them the opportunity to explore that area, see the ancient Inca ruins, but also see so many other things along the way. I like to say on all our trip, it's about the journey and the process and all the components that make your time away really important to the individual guests that come on our trip. We're based in Salt Lake City, Utah. So we are in the mountains here outside of the ski resorts by the Wasatch. And you can see in the lower left-hand corner the picture of our new building that we own and have recently just remodeled and are finishing up the exterior and looking forward to moving forward with our building in our operations in-house here in Salt Lake City. I really have a great testament to our overseas operations managers. These are relationships that I've built over years and years of travel and exploring myself. And it's really important to partner up with the best operations guides in the local areas so you have that local logistical assistance and real great local knowledge and history in all the areas that we travel. So I can't thank our guys and gals overseas enough. It's just such a big part of a family here that help put it all together no matter where we go. We were all affected by the coronavirus, and I'm happy and proud to say that at Worldwide Trekking and the Human Outreach Project, our nonprofit, we were able to assist our overseas teams with food supplies and financial assistance throughout this past year, doing donation and food supply allotment for Tanzania, Africa, Nepal, Peru, and places that we run our regular operations to our teams while they weren't working this past summer. And then we did a second round of support right before the December holidays. So we've just gotten through that. We're hoping that we move on is as we go here. So let's just go through the different destinations around the world, where they are, and where we go when we get down there. So first off, we'll go to Patagonia down here in the lower part of South America, right here in the tip. We fly into Punta Arenas, Chile, right on the Straits of Magellan here in the very far south edge of Chile by Argentina down there. And when we do an amazing adventure in Torres del Paine National Park and Bernard O'Higgins National Park. This is a combination of hiking, ferry boat rides that access hikes in the national park, the different parts of the W. And we also have great lamb asados. We have horseback riding. We have, along with the ferry boat rides, many of those, zodiac rides, and everything else. The best time to go to Patagonia is in their summer season. So we like springtime and through the fall. November, December. I usually avoid January, February, the high busy part of their summer, although it's possible. And then again in to March. So those are great times in Patagonia, and we'll go all over those details for our trips coming up. We do have trips scheduled next fall and early winter in Patagonia, so check our website for the exact details. Next up is Tanzania, Africa, Kilimanjaro and safaris over here in East Africa, just south of the equator, about 200 miles south of the equator, on the border of Kenya. We have Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro has 7 routes that climb the mountain. We focus primarily on the Machame route, although we do the Northern Circuit, we can do the Lemosho route, we really can do any of the routes. But because of the time on the mountain, 7 days on the Machame route, through all the 5 eco changes, it's really a fantastic trip. For us, it's really important to have really great clean amenities on the trip. So dining tents with tables and chairs, portable flushing toilets, really nice 4-season tents that are large 4-person tents for each 2 people on the mountain. We put big pads down in those. And we have a really great full service adventure on Kilimanjaro. The best time of year in Tanzania, Africa coincides with their wet and dry seasons. So they have a dry season from June, July, August into the fall for us, which is about October. And then they have a wet season in December, or in November into December. And then we can run trips again in late December, January into February during their short dry season. And then we try to avoid March, April, May when it's the heavy wet season. I really like June through the summer months and into the fall, and we have plenty of trips scheduled. We oftentimes climb Kili on a full moon, which is really nice. So on the summit night, you have good views. You can see very well from the light of the moon. Our facilities on the mountain are hard to beat, and it's just an amazing adventure throughout. Tanzania is just south of Mount Kenya. Here's the Indian Ocean off to the right. We can always add on excursions to Zanzibar Island at the end of a Kilimanjaro trip. 4 days on the white sand beaches is a very nice thing to do. And as well, oftentimes our groups go on safari afterwards. You have the Serengeti National Park, you have Tarangire National Park, Lake Manyara National Park, the Ngoro Conservation Area, and the Ngoro Crater. So a lot of amazing wildlife, wild game viewing during this trip. We always are going to have open top land cruisers that get you to stand up and get great views unobstructed from windows and that kind of thing. Close to the game, like these lions you see around our safari Jeep. As well, on board, we have a charging station to charge cameras and phone batteries, things like that, as well as a cooler box. We usually do picnic lunches and stay in a variety of amazing luxury lodges during our safaris in Tanzania. There's a lot to learn on safaris. It's not just taking pictures of animals, it's about learning about them, learning about local tribes, and learning about Tanzania in general. Mount Kenya we have on the schedule this year, and Mount Kenya, the same in East Africa, has the same season, so June through October, and again in our winter months, December, January is a good time between their wet seasons over there. Those are going to be the highlight times. I climbed Mount Kenya a couple years ago. Totally impressed with the amount of beauty on that mountain, the amount of running water, and really the amount of solitude. We would hike all day long and only see a couple people, sometimes nobody at all. We'd set up our camps in areas all by ourselves. And it was absolutely beautiful 5-day trek up Mount Kenya into East Africa. You would fly in and out of Nairobi. And if you wanted to, there's also great wild game parks in the area of Masai Mara and other wild game parks and national parks that are great to add on at the end of a Mount Kenya trek. In Utah here this summer, we stayed really busy in southern Utah. We had a number of trips, and one of the things that we do in southern Utah is explore the Colorado Plateau, this blue section of Utah. So in the lower southeast corner of the state is the Colorado Plateau. Colorado Plateau is home to all of the amazing geological formations, all of the layers of mankind, from dinosaurs through the 5 different civilizations that occupied the area thousands of years ago. And for us, the 5 national parks that are in our state: Zion, Bryce, Capitol Reef, Canyonlands, and Arches National Park. It's an amazing adventure. We stay in hotel accommodations each night. We travel in the safari, or in our land, or we travel in the Sprinter vans, 15 passengers. We can accommodate small families, 4, 5, 6 people in a family on private trips. We have a support trailer that has a kitchen to make our lunches, to host a few barbecues during our trips. And we stay in really nice hotel lodges each night that have hot showers and comfortable accommodations for a good night's rest. Utah is amazing. We do a day down the river in the summer months, and then we alternate that day to spend a little more time in the national parks around Moab when the weather gets cooler, if we don't want to go down the river. But it's a huge combination of Native American rock art and dinosaur tracks and ghost towns and natural beauty and the pioneer history. It's just an amazing adventure throughout. We're lucky to be have southern Utah right in our backyard here. We have all the permits, we have all the access, and we know where to go to really get to the very unique places in the national parks, the hidden gems, the places that the public and tourists normally don't know about, that we can go and explore. In Nepal, we primarily trek to Mount Everest Base Camp. We can do some add-ons from there, like Bhutan or Lobuche Mountain. In Nepal, we're going to focus on the pre and post monsoon seasons. So that would be April and May, and then it starts to rain in June, July, and August. And then we go over post monsoon in September, October, and into November. So those 2 seasons not only have weather without the rain, but also unobstructed views of the mountains without the clouds, which is really important. So we fly into Kathmandu, then we take a small charter flight over to the Everest region, about 30 minutes, and we do a lodge to lodge trek all the way up the Khumbu Valley. Kathmandu is amazing. We see some cultural sites there. We spend a day to gather ourselves up and go over an orientation, check gear, do a cultural tour day, Bagmani River, Monkey Temple, things like that. And then we fly into the valley. As we fly into the valley, we use pack animals, like on the lower left, a yak, that help us bring our duffel bags from village to village. We stay in tea house accommodations, like in the right hand side, upper right. Um, the tea house accommodations have hot showers, charging. As we get further up the valley, they get a little bit more what I would characterize as rustic and more basic. But we always are going to supplement that with, as you can see, this is in Lobiche, upper right, a really remote tea house at 16,000 feet. We put tablecloths on the tables. We bring our own condiments. We make it incredibly comfortable for our guest when we take over that space. We also do a number of cultural visits and monastery tours and special blessings along the way to that center photo of Mount Everest. That's the picture from Kilimanjaro, our trekking high point at 18,500 feet. Well earned and well worth the journey. It's just incredible to see Mount Everest from Kilimanjaro and then trek on into base camp um, over there. We have an incredible staff of local Sherpa guys that work with us, and the journey is just one of a lifetime. It's an amazing journey. It's challenging, but very doable for many people, especially on the schedule that we put together. Moving along on to Europe in the Alps, we have a great trekking trip in Switzerland, Italy, and France. We call it the Matterhorn to the Mont Blanc. We usually go from the spring through the fall months. So starting in, say, June, July, August into September. And right in the beginning of October. We try not to push it too late into the fall in case they have early season snow. But this trip is amazing in the fact that we use a series of funiculars and gondolas and cable cars and chairlifts to access the high alpine terrain, like in this photo here, outside of Zermatt, Switzerland, hiking amongst the Matterhorn, and then taking a funicular back down and a gondola to get back down to Zermatt, where we'll spend the night in really nice hotel accommodations in all of these stunning little alpine villages in Switzerland, in Italy, and France. So it's a series of hikes and a series of days that we use cable cars and other ways to get up to the top of the mountains to explore a really active hiking trip, but also assisted by lifts along the way, and then showcasing all of these fun alpine villages that give our guests the chance to go exploring out and shopping around and checking things out in these really fun alpine towns. On to Mount Elbrus in Russia. We climb Mount Elbrus. I have for years, and we would fly into Moscow. From Moscow, we spend the night. We do a city tour in Moscow. We go to the Kremlin and Red Square, St. Basil's Cathedral. We make sure that all our guests arrive comfortably, have the gear before we fly down to Mineral Vode, where we base out of a hotel for a couple nights and then make our way up onto the glacier after a couple days of acclimatization hiking. This is no more challenging than Kilimanjaro, but you do need a few more pieces of technical gear, crampons, ice axe, harness, that kind of thing. We can rent all of that stuff, and we also make sure that we teach everybody the glacier skills that they need to safely climb the mountain. So it's a really great one to learn on for high altitude, and also some basic glacier skills. You can see the mountain here that we travel up to the top of Elbrus and then back down. We base out of a hut on the mountain and make our way up and down, not moving after we get up to that hut in our lodging, but then do a series of climbs that puts us in position to go to the summit of the Mount Elbrus, the highest point in Europe. Iceland, land of fire and ice. This has been an incredible addition to our lineup, and we're usually going to do this in the summer months, from May through October, and weather can always be variable in all of these destinations. So we provide a really good gear list to make sure everybody's comfortable and we can be active no matter what the situation. But Iceland is amazing. Typically, groups go and do the Golden Circle here. They go to all of the very well-known and very well-populated sites. We really try to do an off-the-beaten track journey through Iceland. There are so many sites to see in Iceland that can take you far away from the real heavy tourist areas. And we really focus on those and have a really great time exploring Iceland throughout what would be in North America for us, our summer through their summer, and highlight things like the waterfalls, lowering into a magma chamber, and just having an incredible journey through Iceland. Hotel based again, which gives everybody the comfort of comfortable sleeping accommodations every night with fun days of exploration every day. On to Peru in South America. Peru is home to Machu Picchu, where we go down and fly into Lima here on the map. And then we'll take a connecting flight over into Cusco, one of the oldest cities in the Americas that's still occupied. You can see the gentleman dressed as an Inca warrior in the center of the photo. Behind him is one of the original Inca walls. And it's just amazing. Cusco is an amazing town to explore. We go into the Sacred Valley. We see other Inca sites like Ollantaytambo, and it's really a fun journey. Here we do a hike that goes from lodge to lodge each night. So we can do a camping option. We have a couple options down here. Our premier option is hiking from lodge to lodge, where we have great accommodations each night, a nice room for our guests with a bathroom in their room, full service, nice dining, hot tub, Wi-Fi, everything they need, even though they're hiking from lodge to lodge. It's a fantastic trip. And of course, it concludes at the Inca ruins of Machu Picchu. And it's fabulous to see those ruins. I think one of the things that's less understood about this area is how much the Peruvian culture, the history, the shaman ceremonies, the cuisine that you have, the food is delicious on this trip, as is the other sites that we visit. We see a variety of other Inca sites aside from Machu Picchu on our journey to the lost city of the Incas. It's just an amazing trip. So that has a lot to do with our lineup in Worldwide Trekking this year, 2021. I want to keep these somewhat brief. Each week, I will get into the destination details of each trip, which gives us a lot more insight on where we fly into, any logistics that people need to be concerned about, health and medications, anything that we're going to go through in what we do when we provide a trip detail. The trip detail is something that once you sign on for a trip, we're going to give you a trip detail that explains all the trekking details of each day, the map, but also the distances and your itinerary, the trip accommodations, arriving and departing during your trip, what to expect, all the different types of documents that you want to know about. And within a reasonable amount of pages, you have everything you need right through to the gear list so you can prepare for your journey. Most of your questions will be answered in this document. Once people sign in, they sign up with a member agreement, they get the trip detail, it's dated, and then we consult them until they're ready to take their journey. Again, I can't stress how amazing it is to work with my good friends all around the world here at Worldwide Trekking, from the end of Patagonia to Iceland to Nepal to Tanzania, Africa, through the Alps, and right here in Utah. We have a tremendous amount of resources and guides with years of experience, with a commitment towards health and safety, and people out there enjoying the journey. We try to focus on groups of individuals on our treks to make sure that everybody on our trips have a fantastic time. It's all about the journey. It's all about being able to see that different people have different desires and different interests, and we try to tap in and really make sure that our groups are enjoying themselves and enjoy the fact that they're part of a group trip. I am going to take a few questions here at the end. I've got a few here came in on the computer. Let's see. Thanks for doing this meeting. We're excited to travel in 2021. I think we're all excited to travel at this point, so that's a really good thing to look forward to. 2020 was a tough year for all of us, and we're looking forward to moving forward in a lot of ways. Let's see. Is rental gear available for all of your trips? Gear is so expensive. So with this one, I would say that it depends on where you're going, and gear usually is it is expensive, but it's also available in places that unique things are needed, like in Russia, where you need climbing crampons, ice axe, harness. We have that rental gear available. Places like Nepal, that people need a really warm sleeping bag, we can rent sleeping bags. We also make it available for people to buy some local made sleeping bags at a really cheap price, which is really nice for people and they get something brand new and it's very affordable. We do the same with some of the heavy down warm parkas that might be needed for the trek to base camp. And that way, people get something new, locally made, but very good quality at a fraction of what we could buy here in the States. So depending on the trip, go down the gear list and let us know what you need, and we can help consult you on the best avenue to make sure that you show up prepared with all your gear. We are interested in signing up for a summer adventure, but concerned about losing money if we can't go. Okay, so basically at Worldwide Trekking, we don't want anybody to lose money. This past summer, when the coronavirus hit, we had a lot of people getting ready to leave for summer adventures. Nobody lost money. We refunded money of people that had paid for their trip. We refunded some deposits. We credited a lot of deposits that people wanted to have for future trips to be able to go on the trip when it could run, hopefully this year. So what we have, and you can check on our website, is our coronavirus payment plan. In the member agreement here, it's listed in the back. Basically, we've altered our deposit and payment schedule. So you can sign on for a trip by just sending in a member agreement with no upfront deposit, and that'll put you on the list. As we get near to the trip, 90 days out, and it looks like it is going to go, then we would collect a deposit at 60 days out. We would review that deposit. When we're feeling comfortable that the trip really can go, then we would collect the final payment. Even in the past here, when people had deposits or payments in and the trips had to postpone, reschedule, or even cancel, nobody lost money. Flights are always a bit of a concern too, but usually people can buy flights about 3 weeks, 4 weeks before their trip and really get a good price. It's probably the optimal time to buy your flight. And we also always recommend that people safeguard their trip with travel insurance. You know, anything can happen in a variety of ways to families, friends, animals, all kinds of things, our pets, that could complicate us going on the trip. If you buy a travel insurance policy, which we can recommend through the office, it'll help you safeguard your trip so you don't have any losses in the uneventful situation that you can't go on the trip. That's all the questions that I have right now. So we are going to do these every Saturday. We'll send out our newsletter at 10 a.m. To our entire team, our entire mailing list. We also post it on Facebook. And then that afternoon on Saturdays at 3 o'clock, we'll do a trip brief, kind of like this, but I'll go through, and instead of just doing the quick overview on all the destination, we'll do the destination details. So for example, next week we got Patagonia coming up on Saturday. I will go through the Patagonia trip details, all of the little tidbits about that trip through our detailed brief and what people need to know. We also are going to bring in special guests. Our special guests next week will be Christian and Leslie from Chile, and they're my operations managers down there. They'll join us for the call. They'll be on, and they'll be able to help answer questions and also tell us about Patagonia and their local insight. They're great friends, but they're also great operators down there, and we work together and we do fantastic trips in Patagonia, which is another one of those checklist items that we can do down there in Torres del Paine and Bernardo Higgins National Parks. Patagonia is a place not to miss. So that's our calendar for 2021. Really, it's a lot of the places that we do travel. Keep in mind that we can always set up special groups or trips that aren't actually on our scheduled calendar. We can always send people over to our operations overseas in Nepal or Tanzania, Africa, or down to Patagonia, and do it at a different scheduled time. So contact the office and we can let you know about all that. It's great to see some people that tuned in, and great to look forward to our next destination series next week being Patagonia. And these will all go out within the following week on YouTube in case anybody couldn't be live. So thanks for joining us on our destination series, and we look forward to hosting more of these events in the future.